If you're doing stretches like the sleeper stretch or the stick stretch for your rotator cuff, then stop right now. They're not only ineffective, they could be dangerous. Instead, I'm going to show you 4 exercises to get less pain and increased range of motion that are safe. Coach E from Precision Movement here, and today I'm going to tell you why you should stop doing these common shoulder stretches like the sleeper stretch and the stick stretch for your rotator cuff that I see people doing all the time. I'm playing a lot more tennis these days, and I hear about this from guys that I'm playing with. They've been told to do these stretches by friends, by their physio, because they've got shoulder problems. And every time I hear that, I just think, gotta make a video. So here that video is. Now we're gonna start off with a little bit of background and some science. Then we'll get to the exercises because I believe that understanding will help you to execute the exercises better, and it'll help you to avoid the trap of thinking a simple static stretch is gonna help you out. But if you're extremely impatient or you're limited on time and you just wanna try these exercises out, you can use the chapters that we've marked off for you. Now, why should you stop stretching your shoulders and your rotator cuff? First, if you've got pain, there's a possibility that you've got a muscle tear. And if you stretch that muscle out using static stretches like the sleeper stretch, then you are at risk of increasing that tear or furthering that muscle tear. It's like a piece of rope that's already fraying. If you start to just passively pull on it, then you're gonna rip that rope. So don't do that. Number 2, there's plenty of research out there that shows that static stretching, specifically before exercise, but also 24 hours later, causes decreases in endurance, muscular strength, and power and speed. So if you're an athlete, you're using your body, especially for sports that require speed and power, static stretching is not the right method for you. And number 3, one of the biggest reasons why I rarely recommend static stretching is because the gains that you might get in flexibility don't persist. And this is because when you increase length without a corresponding increase in strength, your brain perceives this as instability. You've got greater range of motion of a joint. Your joint can move around more, but you don't have the strength to control it. So that increased instability increases risk of injury, and your brain sees this even if you don't. And it'll quickly tighten those muscles up because injury is worse for your brain from a survival perspective than being a little bit tight. Now there's a lot of research you can find on static stretching and its impact on performance. But one study that I found very interesting was titled Acute Effects of Unilateral Static Stretching on Hand Grip Strength of the Stretched and Non-Stretched Limb. Now I found this study very interesting because what the researchers did was that they had the participants stretch their finger flexors and their forearm flexors with the typical wrist stretch that you see recommended so often. And then they tested hand grip strength on both the stretched side and the unstretched side. And what they were looking to find was, is there a central mechanism, so a neural mechanism or a brain mechanism that results in static stretching and impacts on force production and strength. And what the researchers found was following the stretching bout, peak force and EMG decreased by 4.4% and 6.4% in the stretch side only. However, rate of force generation, which is how fast somebody can generate force, was significantly impaired in both the stretched, minus 17.3%, and the non-stretched limbs, minus 10.8%. And this was at 1 minute post-stretch and 15 minutes after the stretching. So this study shows that when it comes to force generation and your ability to quickly generate force, which you'd need in speed and power events, there are central mechanisms at play because this side wasn't stretched, but maximum strength was impacted. So this is why we don't recommend static stretching especially for athletes. Now I wanna make one caveat because I do poo on static stretching all the time. Static stretching is better than nothing. So if you're gonna do absolutely nothing, that means 0 exercise. Like you're not walking, you're not doing any push-ups, you're not doing anything, you're not playing a sport. Static stretching, do it. And there's research to prove this. However, if you're an active person and you're doing things, and you have the choice, because now that you've got videos like this, you've got the choice, it's better to do the exercise that I'm gonna show you than it is to do static stretching. So any gains that you get will not last. So what is one to do if they're not going to do the same old static stretches and you want to improve your flexibility and your mobility? Well, that's where I come in, and I've got 4 exercises for you that work together to increase your internal and your external rotation range of motion. So if you're a baseball player, a tennis player, you lift weights in the gym, or you just want greater shoulder range of motion, then these exercises are for you. And a lot of people in previous videos that I've done like this, where we recommend stopping static stretching and give you alternatives, people say, well, these exercises are stretches anyway. That's not true. The difference is that static stretches are passive, where you're not actively contracting the muscle, and the exercises that I'm going to show you are active. You're contracting the muscle, you're building strength, and that's how you're going to get gains that last. So with all that being said, let's get to the exercises. The first exercise we're starting with is called active self-myofascial release, that's ASMR, for your posterior shoulder. And that's all of the tissues right around this area. It could be the deltoid, there could be some rotator cuff stuff going on there, lats, maybe get into the teres major a little bit. Just a bunch of muscles on the back, the posterior of your shoulder. For this, you need a massage ball, you could use a baseball, maybe even a golf ball. And what we're doing is we're gonna do 3 different areas of the back of the shoulder here. So you start in one area, then you're gonna do 3 different moves and 3 reps of each. So it's easy for you to remember. So I'm gonna start off, just pick an area, a meaty area underneath the shoulder, and then I'm gonna roll to my side. The first move is in and out. So I'm reaching as far forward as I can, and I'm relaxing my body over top of the ball as much as possible. Breathing naturally, 3 reps of this in and out, pulling the shoulder as far under you as possible, and then return to neutral. Next up, we're gonna sweep from the legs up overhead. You might have to adjust the ball as you're going so it doesn't slip out. Moving nice and slow and doing 3 repetitions. And the final move looks like that stretch you shouldn't be doing, the sleeper stretch. The good thing here is it's active. We're using our own muscular strength to get into the range of motion. So we're doing 3 reps of rotation. I'm not pressing down. I'm not getting that passive stretch. I'm working through the full range of these muscles. And this is good because this is almost a warm-up for the exercises that are to come. So we do 3 reps like that. Those are the 3 moves. You want to do 3 different areas just around the shoulder. Just pick 3 different areas back there. It'll feel uncomfortable, but what'll happen is if you keep doing it consistently, it'll get less uncomfortable over time, and what that means is your tissue quality is improving. So if you've got any adhesions or restrictions in the tissue itself, like knots, this technique is going to help to relieve those so that you can get better range of motion with the exercises that are coming now. Now we're going to get into the exercises to build strength and increase your mobility, your range of motion. The first is the behind the back ERE, which stands for end range expansion, and it's similar to what people know as PNF techniques. It's similar to contract relax, but it's very specific, and we follow this same methodology for all ERE exercises. So pay attention. So the behind the back ERE, a couple things. You've got to make sure that you're in good shoulder position and good posture. If you're not, you're training things that you don't want, and that's creating muscle and activation patterns that you don't want. So align yourself to start, get tall, chin tucked, and bring the shoulder back a little bit. I'm going to start on my left arm here. Do 1 arm at a time. Here, you want to bring your hand behind your back. Now, the higher you go, the more your chance you have of losing shoulder posture. You can see as I lift my hand up my back, my shoulder starts to naturally round forward. Go as high as you can while maintaining good shoulder posture. So if that's hand on your butt, that's fine. But I'm going to place my hand right in my low back here. From here, I'm making sure my shoulder is back, and the first thing I'm doing is I'm rotating and lifting my hand off of my back. Here I hold for 10 seconds, trying to get deeper in the range, trying to get my hand farther and farther away from my back the whole time, so I'm activating those internal rotator muscles. After about 10 seconds, I place the hand on the back, and then I rotate my hand into my back and keep driving the hand into the back for 10 seconds, activating that muscle, building that strength with this isometric muscle contraction. Keep good posture, keep breathing. And then I finish off by lifting the hand off the back again and rotating the shoulder. I'm going to explain that in a second. So I'm rotating off the back, trying to increase the distance between my hand and my low back. Doing that for about 10 seconds, and then gradually come out of it and let go of the muscles, relax the muscles. Now the rotation movement is what you want to focus on. You don't want to just focus on lifting the hand off the back. You want to focus on lifting the hand off of the back through rotation. And the best cue that I have for that is think of your biceps. You're rotating your bicep. So when your hand's on your back and you want to lift it off the back, you're rotating your bicep in this direction. That's internal shoulder rotation. When you want to press into your low back, you're rotating it in this direction. That's external rotation. So picture the rotation of the bicep to create the movements here of lifting off the back and pressing into the back. And that's how you're going to target those rotator cuff muscles, the internal and external rotators. And that's how you're going to build the strength here and ultimately increase your range of motion and do it in a way that lasts. The third exercise is going to increase your external rotation range of motion. And it's called the prone shoulder ER ERE. Mouthful there, but you can handle it. Now for this exercise, you need a stick. I've got a little mini hockey stick that my youngest is gonna start to use now because the other kids have grown out of it. But you use any hard stick that you can find. You're gonna lie face down. This is the prone position. And we're gonna put our shoulder up at 90 degrees, elbow is at 90 degrees. So 90-90 position of the shoulder. You can have a little pillow here or just stick your head on your hand here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to get as flat as I can to the wall. So my voice might change a little bit because of the different echo dynamics here. And I'm going to lift and rotate my shoulder. You see I'm rotating at the bicep again. So I'm rotating up as far as I can. So that's my end range of rotation right there. And from here, I'm going to grab the stick, and then I'm going to get a little bit more and try to lift this stick off of the ground. My elbow is not pressing into the floor, and it's not lifting off the floor. It's just a light pivot point on the ground there. The whole time, I'm trying to lift further off the floor, the stick further off the floor. After 10 seconds, let the stick drop to the ground, and then drive in to the ground. This time, I'm activating the internal rotators, and I'm thinking of that rotational movement, not just pressing straight into the ground, but rotating into the ground, rotating my bicep to get the internal rotators working. 10 seconds there, driving it pretty hard, and then again, lift off, lift the stick off, rotate it off the ground. I'm working hard. This is not easy. 10 seconds, strengthening that muscle, breathing, not tensing up my back or my neck too much. And then when I'm done, just place it on the ground. And that's one rep. And then you'll switch sides because even if you only use your right arm for everything, we want to maintain balance from left to right. Again, the key points here are when you're holding at the end range of motion, you're trying to get deeper into that range, even though there's no movement. Even though you're at the end range, you're trying to get deeper and deeper. That's how you build internal strength. And any type of contractions that you do that are high levels of force are going to build your strength. So whether you use weights or not, we can build our strength as long as we're focused on what we're supposed to do, trying to get deeper in this case. And that's how you're going to build strength and stability and increase your range of motion in a way that lasts. The fourth and final exercise I've got for you today is going to take everything that you've done previous to this and integrate it into a movement pattern that helps you to keep the gains that you make in both strength and mobility. It's called diamond shoulders, and it's a tough technique. For this technique, you're lying on your stomach, face down, so the prone position, and you start with your hands behind your head, and the first move is to lift both your elbows and your hands up as far as they go. Next, you straighten the elbows completely, and you keep them locked out. This is important. You can make fists, and you're continuing to lift your hands off the ground as far as they can go. And then you're going to start to lower down,
keeping the elbow straight, and then you rotate. So that's internal rotation, and then you place your hands on the low back. I gotta dodge my mic on my right side. And then you relax briefly, and then you come up, lift the elbows as far off the ground as they can, hands off the back as far as they can, straighten, and it's this rotational movement here as you're lifting up. That's key to incorporate those rotator cuff muscles that we just worked. And then on the head, and then relax. And that's 1 rep. So let me do one more for you. So a little bit more real time. So it's lifting hands and elbows up high, straightening, make fists, elbows stay locked out, keep lifting up high, and then keep lifting up high as I place my fists in my low back. Relax briefly, come back up, lift, straighten, and rotate. Keep lifting up high as I place the hands on the head and come down. And that's 2 reps.
So I like the name diamond shoulders because it's not only the shape that you make with your hands and your arms, both in the top and the bottom position, but if you do it well and you do it long enough, it's going to give you diamond shoulders. Shoulders that are rock solid, stable, and strong, that will support you and your active life. To summarize the exercises we just went through, we started with active self-myofascial release for the posterior shoulder. Do that in 3 different areas, 3 different moves, and 3 reps of each move. Next, we went to the behind the back ERE technique. Start off with 3 repetitions per side. Then we followed up with the prone shoulder ERE technique. Again, do 3 reps per side. And we finished off with diamond shoulders. Here you can do 2 sets, starting off with 4 repetitions. Perform this routine 3 times a week for 4 weeks for great results. So that's the approach that I would use if I were trying to increase my shoulder rotation, range of motion in a way that lasts and in a way that supports my active lifestyle. I'd love to know what you thought about that. Leave your comment down below. And we've got other great content to keep your shoulders healthy. Here's a couple of videos that you can check out up here. And what's most important is if you've got pain, you've got to get out of pain, because that's going to impact not only your lifestyle and your mental well-being, but it's also going to create further compensations in the future. So if you've got pain, grab the Shoulder Pain Solution Program right now.